Hello, everybody. My name is Jess Raitt, and I am the Product Education Manager at doTERRA. And I'm here today to talk about Aromatouch. And the reason for me jumping on board to this Zoom is because I've noticed such an incredible uptake in interest, in motivation, and excitement, and most importantly, in business activity because of the Aromatouch technique. So I wanted to add value to this momentum that we're all experiencing and to share a little bit more, I guess, education and inspiration to help you along this journey. As you guys are no doubt aware, the Aromatouch competition launched at the start of January. And what we have seen is an incredible uptake of people who have found themselves, who finally found that inspiration to say, I can do this. I've got the roadmap to success now. I know how I can share essential oils, holistic living, even just the power of touch and being able to share those intimate moments with those that we love through this Aromatouch technique. And so it's a really special experience to be able to sit on the sidelines and watch as you all have found this passion. And I just wanted to add some additional value to that. So I thought today that I would share this special Unearthed series of Aromatouch to help add that little bit of sparkle into your business. So let's jump straight ahead. I'm going to begin sharing my screen. So before I go into the business component of Aromatouch, I think it's important that we do touch on the heart component of this. And I really like to split the heart and the head into two components for this program because they do have two different prerogatives. And I think it's important that we differentiate the two first and then be able to look at how do we infuse them together, because within our own systems, we have our heart telling us one thing, and sometimes our head is saying something different. And the beauty of this technique is that we can actually incorporate all of it to be able to service not only ourselves, but our communities as well. So before we touch on that, I want to go into the heart component. We know that these essential oils were designed by a beautiful man, Mr. Dr. David Hill. And what he has done is very carefully curated 8 essential oils based not only on their individual properties, but also how they work holistically, how they work synergistically together to ensure total body relaxation. And they've been designed in a specific way to achieve certain levels of relaxation, to hit certain depths that you didn't think that was possible at all. And anyone who's experienced a technique in the past knows that by the time someone is doing the technique on your feet, you are completely falling asleep because it is so special and unique in its way that it's performed. It's also important to remember, and I know that this question's come up a fair few times on our socials over the past couple of weeks. People are asking about insurances and am I allowed to perform this after doing the certification course online? And the answer is yes, absolutely. It's been designed by Dr. Hill so that it is simple for everybody to participate in. The power, in fact, is in its simplicity. So it can be performed equally by both the novice essential oil enthusiast and the professional health practitioner. Now, to put that into an example, think of a beauty therapist who might want to incorporate the Aromatouch technique into her service listing, for example. She's able to do that. And she's also able to charge for that service as well. But then on the flip side, you might have a stay-at-home mum, for example, who wants to provide the technique to a neighbour or to a friend, and she's invited the friend over to her home to be able to share that technique. You are also able to perform it in that structure. The important thing to remember is that the technique has to be simple enough so that everyone can perform it, but you also need to make sure that you are looking after your obligations as a professional providing that service. So what I mean by that is you want to make sure that you've considered all of the obligations around health codes and health and safety requirements. So if you are operating out of a bricks and mortar business, so for example, you are that beauty therapist who's providing that treatment, you want to make sure that you have the right insurances in place. So I'm talking about public liability insurance. If your consumer walks in and slips on her way to receive that treatment or on the way home, you can be liable. So you need to make sure that you are insured in the appropriate way per your state. So this is up to you guys, the individual, to make sure that you are abiding by the laws and regulations of your state or territory that you are operating in. So I'd highly recommend that you hop onto your local council and government websites and where you are planning on practicing the Aromatouch technique, and make sure that you are ticking those boxes, that you have got the right insurances in place to ensure that you are covered. Now, in regards to the technique itself, we know that it's a beautiful technique to provide. What it does is, it enhances the utilisation and benefits of 8 very specific essential oils. It stimulates the known body meridian points and energy zones, which is an incredibly powerful way not only to incorporate essential oils, but incorporate the element of touch to help support the body. We're also able to help re-establish a state of balance and function, or this word that we're starting to use a lot now, and people may not be aware of it. It's called homeostasis within the body. Now, homeostasis really means balance. So I like to think of it as a leveler of sorts. Builders have these levelers that are used to make sure that a picture frame is hung up evenly. You want to make sure that that bubble is consistently sitting in that middle area, and you don't want it to be out of flux. Homeostasis is when we are naturally in a state of balance. So we want to keep that leveler in a central location for as often or as long as possible. So aroma touch. Let's break it down into the basics. What is the role of aroma in Aromatouch? Let me ask you this question. Have you ever wondered why a certain perfume might have reminded you of somebody? Or the smell of eucalyptus can actually remind you and take you back to a childhood memory, maybe you bushwalking with your siblings. I think we all have experiences where we have pinpointed an aromatic anchor to a particular memory, and there's actually a reason for that. See, when we smell, the scent hits our olfactory nerve, which is located in the nasal cavity. This then sends a direct message to the limbic system. Now, our limbic system is responsible for our emotions, our mood, and our memory. And that is why we're able to remember experiences in the past so vividly. So if you smell the scent of vanilla cupcakes, you might not be thinking of the bakery that you're actually in right now. You might be actually transported back in time to when Mum used to make you cupcakes for your school lunches, for example. Or a particular perfume might remind you of an ex-boyfriend's mother that may not be a fond memory, for argument's sake. But we're always going to attach a particular smell with a memory, both positive or negative. And there is a direct correlation between the emotional and the physical attributes of the aroma. And this is why the Aromatouch technique is so successful, because it has a unique way of incorporating these 8 essential oils to trigger memories. And I can guarantee you, every single time I perform an Aromatouch technique, I remember exactly where I was when I first learnt the technique 3.5 years ago. It's quite remarkable. And interestingly enough, many have tried to recreate that Aromatouch scent in a bottle. And realistically, you can't, because of a couple of reasons. Firstly, everyone has a different aromatic profile on their skin. And that's why a perfume might smell differently on you as it would on somebody else. But also, you're going to be linking that aromatics with a particular memory, and so they may not be associated with the same experiences. And that's why the Aromatouch technique is so unique in its topical application and experience level. It's a really beautiful way to create space, create harmony for your recipient, but you also, as the giver of the technique, also get to experience all those benefits as well as a little added side effect. Now, the role of touch. Touch is so important. It creates connection. It allows us to develop parent-child relationships before we even learn to speak. As a mother myself, I know the importance of physical touch, and I know that you're here today and you would likely experience the same thing. When you've given birth for the first time, it's incredible how important physical touch is. As soon as you give birth, what do? They grab that baby and they put him or her skin on skin immediately onto your chest. And the longer that you can have that skin on skin contact, the more connection and bond you can create with your child. It is incredibly important for beginning that relationship and that connection, which I was listening to a podcast the other day. It says that bond actually never breaks. And there's almost a small part of the mother, even after your child has grown up, that is still connected in that way that you can feel subliminally how they're feeling as well, emotionally, which I think is so special, so special. So touch stimulates our bodies to react in very specific ways. It's important to note that we want to create an opportunity for connection to form with safe touch. We need to make sure at every step of the way that your customer, your client, your recipient of the technique feels modesty, feels comfort, and feels safety. Because when you are not fully encapsulated in that component of feeling safe and feeling covered up, let's be honest, then your mind can fully relax. And if you're constantly thinking about, oh my goodness, is something showing? Oh my goodness, I'm feeling a little bit cold. I don't trust this person that's providing this technique for me. That can add to a negative experience. So it's really, really important as a person giving the technique that you make sure that your room, your space that you're providing is fully focused on your recipient. This is their time. And when I'm performing the technique, one of the first things I do when I'm doing those heart movements is take a few deep breaths myself and really zone in on what I am trying to achieve here. Forget about the emails and the phones that might be going off, the noise that's happening in the background. This is your time that I'm gifting to you. At the end of this, you want to make sure that that recipient is feeling completely at ease and comfortable and gets the desired outcome. So you need to make sure that you're passing through modesty, comfort, and safety. Because the right type of touch can lower blood pressure, can lower heart rate, and can lower cortisol levels. We live in a world where we're constantly buzzing. We're constantly go, 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 go. It is so hard to find times to properly relax. Anyone who can meditate, I think you're fantastic, because I struggle. My brain just doesn't tend to slow down and turn off as easily. And I think it's because I'm constantly on the go. And so when I'm receiving the Aromatouch technique, it does take me a little while to really dial down. But when I do, when I'm given the right kind of environments that I can properly take myself to those levels, I really do notice my cortisol levels dropping. I can feel really at ease. And sometimes I actually fall asleep, which is quite beautiful. And so while I am, as the giver of the Aromatouch technique, is really making sure that I am providing that safe environment for my recipient, once I move my hands out and I'm holding it over the recipient's head and the base of their spine or their sacrum, what I want to make sure is that I'm giving them the time to find a few moments to take a breath, properly relax, and hold space for them so that they're able to reach these levels as well. And a little hot tip from me to you, you will notice when your customer is lying on the bed and they are properly ready to receive the technique, they'll do this breath. They'll do this. Now, some customers take 10 seconds, 30 seconds to reach that level. Some people can take minutes to reach those levels. Hold space for them until you hear that deep breath. Then you start the technique. Now, when we talk about the Aromatouch, it's actually part of a bigger picture. We're talking about wellness. What does well mean to you? What are some factors that affect your wellness? Why is it important for you to be well? These are the types of questions that you can ask people when they're coming into your clinic, into your home, or you're providing the technique for them, wherever you are. Because being conscious of their need state is the first step into achieving the outcome that you want to achieve. It's really important that we consider the health and wellness pyramid. and we look at people's lives from a holistic setting, having an Aromatouch once a month is absolutely going to be delightful. You're going to feel calm, you're going to feel relaxed. But if you don't have a holistic approach to wellness, considering your physical, mental, emotional, and even your spiritual needs, it's almost like a tripod that's destined to fall over. And I like to use this example of a tripod, for example. And we look at the physical, mental, and emotional states of ourselves. If you're physically not feeling well, if you're feeling a little bit sick, do you find that your emotional stabilities are probably a little bit out of whack? Do you find that you're mentally not as friendly, not as kind, or maybe not as willing to be as supportive as you should be? Because when one leg of our tripod is impacted by lack of wellness, what inevitably happens, we fall over. So what we need to do is ensure that we have balance in play. And a really effective way to ensure balance within the body is to lower inflammation, to lower cortisol levels, to balance out that fight or flight mentality that we have that naturally just bubbles like a kettle day on day. Like me, I noticed such a dramatic drop in my fight or flight response when I went on Christmas holiday break. I really noticed how much I was buzzing towards the end of the year. And it was this go, go, go mentality. I wanted to make sure Christmas was fantastic for my family. I wanted to close off the year work-wise, making sure we ticked off every box before we headed off for break. But that go, go, go mentality meant that my physical body was exhausted. And I really noticed that over the break, I was able to come back to me and think clearer. And so one of my focuses for 2023 is to really make sure that I'm operating in a balanced way so that my internal kettle doesn't overflow. And Aromatouch, of course, is a beautiful way to ensure that I'm consistently staying in check with myself. We all know about the autonomic nervous system. We know that it's called the fight or flight mentality. This fight or flight mentality is a physical response to threat. So back in the day, a very, very, very long time ago, we were under threat from saber-toothed tigers chasing us, ready to kill us. And so our bodies had this reaction to think, I need to kick into gear. I need my blood flow to increase. I need my eyes to be sharpened. I need to have this boost of energy to get out of that saber-toothed tiger's way to save myself. But you know what? We're not under that kind of threat anymore. We don't have that same heightened stress level where we need to save our lives. Unless a train is coming towards you, those day-to-day emails coming through in your inbox aren't threatening your existence. And yet, physically, we have those same responses. Now, they may not be the giant spikes that you would have if some sort of animal's chasing you, but imagine what the tiny little layers of stress and anxiety and go, 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 and your mind ticking in overtime, what that does to your system over a longer period of time. You end up being Jess in December, circa 2022, with a lot on your mind and an inability to perform probably at your best. So it's really important that we find those moments to bring us back into our centre, to find that balance, that equilibrium again. And the Aromatouch technique does that. And maintaining the integrity of these essential oils is absolutely integral to the technique. You can't switch out one of these oils and go to Kmart and pick up a substitute for $2. Please don't. And if you have any questions about that, please reach out to me because I'm happy to have a conversation around that. Purity is key. We need to make sure that we're doing the right thing to our consumers by providing the right 100% pure topical essential oils. Now, what I'm going to do now is going to share through the actual oils in their sequence, but instead of talking about how they are achieved in the Aromatouch technique, it is written here for you. What I want to do is flip to that headspace, which I was talking about at the start of this training. Because Aromatouch is that beautiful equilibrium between heart and mind, we want to create longevity in our businesses. We don't want to push for the Aromatouch technique. You might be at the top of the leaderboard right now for the Aromatouch competition, but if you are not infusing this program into your day-to-day practices for longevity, then at the end of February, all you've achieved is a lot of hand techniques, let's be honest. And that's wonderful in itself, but you need to look at your purpose and why you've joined doTERRA. If you're a builder, this can be your opportunity to infuse it for long-term success. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't reached out to your account manager yet and you have access to one, please do. We are doing a huge amount of strategy sessions around how Aromatouch can support you and your year ahead. But let's look at it from a practical perspective. Many of us are mums, let's be honest. A lot of our customers are also mums. And so we're looking for the practicality element. And one beautiful leader mentioned this to me the other day, and I think that it is the most exceptional thing that's come out of this year thus far. This is the top 8 oils. The Home Essentials kit has been a kit that everyone rests on because we know that we've got it covered. When a customer wants to start their journey with doTERRA, these are the perfect oils to begin that journey. Well, now we have the Aromatouch kit. We've got emotional oils like Balance and Aromatouch and Lavender, which really help to support states of mental fatigue, helping you to fall asleep at night, building connection with your children. Beautiful bathing oils, excellent for your skin as well. But then we also have physically supportive oils as well. So if you're more of that gym junkie, or you're wanting to get into a bit of a fitness routine, or maybe you've just got a sore knee like me, we've got Ice Blue, we've got Peppermint, we've got Lavender in that as well. We've got Aromatouch, which are very supportive in the physical element. We have the spiritual component. And if we think back to wellness and that tripod and how we can infuse oils in a way that's going to help us to remain in harmony or balance, well, again, we've got some incredible oils in this kit that's going to help support your emotions and your spirituality as well, connecting with the higher power. And then you've also got that in the home practicality element. And if you're anything like me, I'm constantly looking for new ways that I can ditch and switch, that I can swap out the hairspray or the fly spray or the nappy cream or the facial serum or a spray and wipe. Any of these products which we know classically on the supermarket shelves are laden with chemicals and the rife of damage that does. I'm constantly looking for ditch and switch options where I can remove that store-bought product and make something holistically myself. Well, if you look at the ingredients, or the oils rather, in the Aromatouch kit, you've got green cleaning sorted, you've got tea tree, you've got On Guard, you've got wild orange, you've got peppermint. You've got so many oils there that can support your bathroom cleaning, kitchen cleaning, laundry cleaning. You've got aromatics to ditch out the fabric softeners and fragrances in the laundry. You've got carpet cleaners there. And as we lead into the cooler months as well, you've got a little bit more of that protection against seasonal threats, which is a big one, I know, for us living in the southern regions of Australia where it gets mighty cold. We've got a plethora of uses and benefits for the Aromatouch kit that people may not have thought of. And so the savvy ones, the people that are really looking at, well, how do I infuse Aromatouch into my business? You could do it one or two ways. You could hold a class and invite customers to come in and learn the Aromatouch technique. And then as a follow-on, they could learn about the practicality element of these essential oils. Or if that's not your jam, flip it on the other side. So these are your top 8 oils to start your essential oil journey. It just so happens as well that you can also get an Aromatouch training course for free where you can support your family and your friends' physical needs as a result. I know one beautiful leader recently has started creating a bit of a routine in her habit where she sits with her 6-year-old daughter and they do the hand technique every single night before bed. And what they do is talk about their day, their feelings, and have that special one-on-one time. Now, that can take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe up to 5 minutes. The myriad of benefits that those few moments of connection create is really special. And kids love routine. They are going to expect it. I know my kids, after they jump out of the bath now, lie on the carpet in their bedrooms wanting a massage. And it's a beautiful way that we can share our knowledge, our expertise, our passion for essential oils with those that we love. So with that, what I want to be able to do is encourage you all to think outside of the box when it comes to this Aromatouch kit. We have the physicality element, the head component of the Aromatouch technique, but we also have the heart. So whichever way you want to incorporate the kit into your business model, I challenge you to think a little bit differently, outside of the box, and see how it could possibly be infused into your business so that you can reach the success levels that you want to reach. As always, if you have any questions or you want to chat to me a little bit further about this, please reach out. My email is aromatouchaus@doterra.com, or you can tee up a strategy session with your account manager, and I'm more than happy to jump onto that call as well. And we can look at how we can support you in your business endeavours for 2023. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed this little insight into Aromatouch, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.